Hello guys, welcome back. So let's start with a new topic, that is heart. So we use the word heart a lot of times in our daily life. Now let's learn about the actual biological heart whose work is only pumping the blood. Okay, the heart is first of all situated where in your thoracic region. Now to be exact, it is situated into your middle mediastinum. When we were doing lungs, I already told you what was mediastinum. It is a space between the lungs which is consisting of many organs, important vessels, esophagus, thoracic duct, and many other things, right? So the mediastinum is divided into anterior mediastinum, middle mediastinum, and posterior mediastinum. The middle mediastinum is a place where this heart is situated into. Okay. Heart is enclosed into a covering which is called as pericardium. Our brain is covered by meninges. Our lungs are covered by pleura. Similarly, heart is covered into pericardium. Now cardium, so first write down the word pericardium. Now pericardium, peri means surrounding, right? In Latin, and cardium is related to heart. So it is a covering that surrounds the heart. Okay. Now pericardium are of two types. So write down pericardium are of two types. The fibrous pericardium, two layered. Okay, this pericardium is two layered. Fibrous pericardium and serous pericardium. Before moving on with the layers of pericardium or types of pericardium, first know what is this pericardium. It is a covering of the heart, we know, but what it is made up of? It is made up of connective tissue and fat. This connective tissue will secrete the pericardial fluid. What it will secrete? It will secrete the pericardial fluid. Remember this. Now let's look at the divisions of the pericardium, the fibrous and the serous one. Now this fibrous pericardium, it is tough and strong pericardium, pericardial layer. Okay, it will protect your heart. The serous pericardium, it is further divided into parietal serous and visceral serous. So it is divided into parietal pericardium, or you can say outer parietal and inner serous. Okay, this outer parietal pericardium will be connected with the fibrous. Okay, this outer parietal layer of the serous pericardium, it will be facing the fibrous one. Okay, so it faces the fibrous pericardium. This inner serous, it is attached or firmly adhered to the heart. Okay, it is attached or firmly adhered to heart. Now this inner serous pericardium, you must know that it is also known as epicardium. Now further we will be doing the layers of the heart. Okay, it has an epicardial layer, a myocardial layer, an endocardial layer. So the epicardial layer, which I said in the beginning, this is actually this inner serous layer. What it is? It is the inner serous layer. So right now it is also known as epicardium layer of the heart. Okay. It is simple squamous epithelium. It is lined by simple squamous epithelium. Okay, or it is also known as mesothelium. What it is also known as mesothelium. Okay, in between these two, the outer parietal layer and inner serous layer, there is a cavity which is called as pericardial cavity. What it is called as pericardial cavity. Now this pericardial cavity consists of pericardial fluid. So what is present here? Pericardial fluid, which was secreted by connective tissue. Okay. This whole pericardium, you can say, write down, it is supplied by phrenic nerve. It is innervated by which nerve? Innervated by phrenic nerve. Okay, phrenic nerve root value was C3 and C5. What else was this phrenic nerve innervating? Do you remember? It was diaphragm. Okay, that's important. So please remember that also. Now let's know about the heart layers in detail. Okay, so write down the topic, heart layers. So first we will start from the inside to the outside. Okay, so very inside you have inner endocardial layer. Which layer? Inner endocardial layer. Now this inner endocardial layer, it lines cavities and valves of the heart Okay, the second layer is subendocardial layer. What it is? Subendocardial layer. This layer contains Purkinje fibers. So this becomes a question that which layer contains the Purkinje fibers. It is subendocardial layer. The third layer you have is, it is the myocardial layer. Myo means muscle, so you must understand by the meaning itself that it is the muscular layer. Okay, and it is functional layer. So the functional is basically contraction. Okay, so the contraction of the heart is carried out by this layer. Okay, now which muscles it consists of? So write down, it consists of involuntary striated muscle with intercalated disc. This intercalated disc is the feature of the heart muscle. Okay, so you must remember that it consists of involuntary striated muscles with intercalated disc. Okay, the second last layer is subepicardial. This subepicardial layer connects the myocardium and the epicardium. Connects myocardium and epicardium. Okay, then the last layer which comes is the epicardial layer. I told you what is the another name of epicardium. It is inner visceral layer of serous pericardium. Okay, so remember this point about the epicardium. Okay, now they give you a question that there is the damage of the heart tissue. Okay, so what tissue will regenerate the heart? So write down, note, heart if damaged, the regeneration is carried out by connective tissue. So the regeneration tissue of the heart is which tissue? Connective tissue. It is always going to be connective tissue. You must remember it because there are many questions on this regeneration tissue of the heart. Okay, before moving on with the heart, you have to draw this diagram which I have drawn on an A4 size paper. Draw a big diagram so that everything which I have drawn is visible. Okay, everything means everything should be drawn into on your page and label it accordingly. Okay, we'll be doing this diagram as a revision at the end, so make sure that you draw it on a very spacious page. Don't draw it small because at the end when you will be revising it, it will get confusing. Okay, first let's do the heart now in detail. So heart has an apex, right? The apex is present antero-inferiorly. This heart apex, location wise if I say, then it is medial to mid clavicular line. It is medial to mid clavicular line, or you can say, or is 9 centimeter lateral to parasternal line. Okay, if you know these lines which we have done in the very first video, then what I have written here is very clear to you. Okay, apex, it is present at 5th intercostal space. Which intercostal space? 5th intercostal space. Okay, now write down the borders of the heart. So borders of heart, the first is right border, the left border, the inferior border, and the superior border. Okay, the right border is formed by the right atrium. The right border is formed by the right atrium. The left border is formed by left ventricle. Okay, the inferior border is by left and right ventricle. The superior border is by right and left atrium. So this was very easy. You just have to visualize how your heart is situated and accordingly you can answer these borders. Now write an important point, something about transverse pericardial sinus. Some of you might have heard it, some of you might have not heard it. So it is important, so write down. Now what is this transverse pericardial sinus? First of all, let's write it down. It separates aorta and pulmonary trunk from superior vena cava and pulmonary veins. So it is a structure which will separate the aorta and the pulmonary trunk from the superior vena cava and the pulmonary veins. Now what I mentioned it here is, write down, it is used in coronary artery bypass surgery, bypass graft. It is used. Why? Because it will help you locate or identify these vessels and ligate the arteries. Okay, this is used in coronary artery bypass grafting as it helps to identify and ligate arteries of heart. So I hope you understood the importance of this transverse pericardial sinus. Okay, now let's look at the chambers of the heart. What are we learning about? Chambers of heart. Before moving on with chambers, there's one point you have to write in the apex of the heart. So please write it down, that this apex, it comprises mostly of left ventricle. What it comprises of? Left ventricle. And write down the base. The base of the heart, which is present superiorly, it comprises of right and left atrium. Okay, right comprises of 2/3 part and left comprises of 1/3 part. Okay, so mainly the base of the heart is formed by the right atrium. Okay, and apex is formed by the left ventricle. Please remember that, it is very important. Let's do the chambers of the heart now. You have 4 chambers. You might have already knowing this. Okay, atrium H1, right atrium. Then you have right ventricle. Then left atrium and left ventricle. First start with the right atrium. So this right atrium, here the deoxygenated blood will come. Okay, but before going on what comes over here, let's know what is present over here. So here few things are present. One is SA node. It helps in electrical impulse conduction of the heart. Okay, it will give the signals to further nodes which are present in the heart so that the heart will contract. Okay, it has something called as fossa ovalis. Now this fossa ovalis, it is a remnant of foramen ovale. In a fetal heart, the right and left atrium has a hole in between. Suppose this is the right and left atrium. This side is right, this side is left atrium. It has a hole. The blood mixes. The right atrium's blood will mix with the left atrium blood in the fetal. Okay, but as soon as a baby takes the first breath, this foramen ovale is replaced or is filled completely and it becomes fossa ovalis. Okay, then it consists of coronary sinus. This coronary sinus, it is confluence of sinuses. Okay, here the coronary veins will meet or open into right atrium, bringing all the deoxygenated blood from the heart itself. They all will drain in the right atrium, so that blood gets oxygenated in the cycle. It has superior vena cava and inferior vena cava opening. So these are some of the structures which are present in the right atrium. Okay, it also has a structure called as crista terminalis, but it's okay if you don't know it. Just know that crista terminalis is present in the right atrium. So write that also, crista terminalis. Now what type of blood is present over here? So write down here, deoxygenated blood comes from coronary sinus, superior vena cava, inferior vena cava. Okay, all these will bring the deoxygenated blood in the right atrium. Now from the right atrium, this blood will go where? They will go into this right ventricle. Okay, now the right atrium and right ventricle, they are guarded by valves. So this, write down, right atrium is connected to the right ventricle by the valve which is known as tricuspid valve. What it is known as tricuspid valve. It has 3 cusps. Okay, and these valves are there to prevent the backflow of the blood from the right ventricle to the right atrium. Once the blood enters downwards, it should not go up back, right? So for that there are valves. Valves are nothing but doors. Okay, once the blood enters from the right atrium into the right ventricle, the door closes so that the blood won't go upwards once again. Okay, so the valve is tricuspid valve. It is a type of atrioventricular valve. Okay, atrioventricular valve means a valve between the atrium and the ventricle. Then the right ventricle will pump blood. This right ventricle, first know what and all is present over here. Right ventricle has papillary muscles. What it has? It has papillary muscles to which attaches chordae tendineae. Now what is this chordae tendineae? Chordae tendineae, they connect the valves and the papillary muscles. So write down, connects valve and papillary muscles. They are fibrous cords. Okay, so if this is the valve and this is the caudate tendon, and these are the papillary muscles. So it will help to keep the valve stretched downwards or pulled downwards, okay, to help it keep closed. Okay, so you will be doing this in the diagram, that it will get more clear, so don't worry about it. This right ventricle will then pump the blood into the pulmonary trunk. So deoxygenated blood from the right atrium goes into your right ventricle. From your right ventricle, it will be taken up by the pulmonary trunk. From the pulmonary trunk, the pulmonary arteries will take the blood to the lungs. In the lungs, in the alveolar sacs, the gases exchange will take place. Carbon dioxide from the pulmonary artery will be taken up and thrown out of the body, and oxygen will be consumed. So oxygenated blood becomes your pulmonary veins. The pulmonary veins will carry the oxygenated blood and will open into this left atrium. So write down left atrium contains pulmonary veins. So pulmonary veins will open in the left atrium. Then this left atrium will then drain the blood into the left ventricle. And by draining, there is a valve which is called as mitral valve or bicuspid valve. It is called as mitral valve or bicuspid valve. This left atrium will empty the blood into the left ventricle. The left ventricle will then pump the blood into the aorta. Okay. Now, first, for the right ventricle, write down this point. Pumps blood into pulmonary trunk. Pulmonary trunk, it has semilunar valves. What it has semilunar valves. Similarly, aorta also has semilunar valves. They are semilune in shape. So it was given the name as semilunar valves. This left atrium pumps blood into aorta, and write down aorta has semilunar valves too. Then aorta will carry the oxygenated blood to your whole body. Okay, so that was all about the chambers of the heart. For left ventricle, you must remember that it has two papillary muscles. Okay, ventricles have papillary muscles. So the left ventricle has two papillary muscles. Right ventricle has 3 papillary muscles. That's all you have to remember about the chambers of the heart. And you can also write about this left ventricle that it is more muscular than right ventricle. So the muscular wall of the left ventricle is more than the right ventricle. So over here, the green color which you're seeing is, that is your fibrous pericardium. What it is? Fibrous pericardium. This yellow color which you're seeing, it is your serous outer parietal pericardium. Okay. Then this pink shade which you're seeing, this is the pericardial cavity which consists of pericardial fluid. So pericardial cavity which is present between the outer parietal layer and the inner serous. So this pink color border which is there, that is your inner serous or inner visceral layer, which is directly in touch with the heart. So the white color border which you're looking at, it is the actual heart. So let's learn about the heart now. This is your right atrium, your right ventricle, the left atrium and the left ventricle. Okay. The right atrium, you can see a few structures which I have drawn. This is the superior vena cava. Okay. This on the inferior side is the opening of the inferior vena cava. You can see the inferior vena cava is opening, okay, into the right atrium. This what you're looking at is the coronary sinus. What it is? Coronary sinus. Above you have this SA node. What you have this SA node. The conducting system of the heart, you will be learning this in physiology. The SA node will transmit the impulse to the AV node, which will then transfer to the bundle of His. From the bundle of His, it will be taken up by the Purkinje fibers. These all in detail will be done in the physiology, so you don't have to worry. Okay. Then you have this fossa ovalis. What it is? This purple color which you see, it is present between the two atriums, the right and the left atriums. The remnant, it is the remnant of the foramen ovale. Okay. You can see this 2 tricuspid valve. Okay. The third you cannot see over here because it comes from the back side like this. Okay. Somewhere. So what is this? This is the tricuspid valve. So write down it is tricuspid valve. This green color which you are looking at, it is the chordae tendineae. I told you that chordae tendineae will be connecting the valves and the papillary muscle. So this pink color, purple color which you see is the papillary muscle. And I also told you that right ventricle will have 3 papillary muscles, right? It has 3 papillary muscles. Fibrous chordae tendineae which will be attaching to the tricuspid valve. The right ventricle will then pump blood into the pulmonary trunk. So this is the pulmonary trunk. Okay, you can see pulmonary trunk has the semilunar valves. Okay, the pulmonary trunk will carry this deoxygenated blood to the lungs, and through pulmonary veins they will open into left atrium. So you can see this pulmonary veins opening into the left atrium, right? On the right side also, if you're thinking that this pulmonary veins I have drawn on the right side also, it is not present on the right side. It comes from the posterior side. Okay, this, like this, present on the posterior side. This I cannot show this in this picture, that's why I've drawn like this. Okay, so left atrium, these are the pulmonary veins which will bring the oxygenated blood from the lungs. From the left atrium, the blood will be emptied into the left ventricle. Now this left ventricle has two papillary muscle, as you can see, right? And chordae tendineae and the bicuspid or mitral valve. Bicuspid or mitral valve, which will prevent the back flow of the blood. This left ventricle will drain blood into the aorta. Okay, and aorta divisions we have done. You can see this is the ascending aorta, then you have the arc of aorta, and you have this descending aorta which will go into your abdomen. Okay, arc of aorta, as we have done this previously also, that it will have these three branches. This one is brachiocephalic trunk. You have this right subclavian artery, right common carotid artery. This directly originating branch is your left common carotid artery and left subclavian artery, right? I've done this arc of aorta in detail previously also. So that's all about the heart you must remember. The pericardium, its layers, the heart, its chambers, and what and all it contains, and you have to remember the flow. So for the flow, you can write this summary. So flow of blood. So write down deoxygenated blood enters right atrium. The right atrium empties the blood into the right ventricle by the tricuspid valve. Which valve? By the tricuspid valve. The right ventricle pumps the blood into pulmonary trunk, in the pulmonary trunk or pulmonary artery, okay, by semilunar valve. Pulmonary semilunar valve or only semilunar valve. Okay, then this pulmonary artery takes the blood to the lungs, gets oxygenated, and this oxygenated blood is taken up by the pulmonary veins. Okay, this pulmonary veins will empty the blood into the right atrium, into the left atrium. The left atrium will then empty the blood into the left ventricle by the mitral or bicuspid valve. The left ventricle will pump the blood into the aorta through the semilunar valve. I hope now this flow of blood is clear to you and everything about the heart is clear. So thank you.